Hello and welcome to this short video where we are going to discuss a little bit about chapter 5, the discussion. And it's a bit difficult to give you specific instructions for this chapter because it will differ a lot. First, depending on your findings, like different people found different things. In quantitative, it is the same for each variable, but in between variables, that's still different. And also in the qualitative, where there are much more differences, even between people with the same variable could have different interpretations. So that's the first reason why the discussion chapter can be different. And the second reason why it can be different is also on your theoretical argumentation from the literature review and even the introduction, like different groups, even with the same variable, could have developed a different argument, and that will look different when you discuss it. So because of these two reasons, everyone will have different discussions, different results, and different argumentations. But overall, I think you can follow what we saw in the last lecture, lecture 9 on theorizing, where I give you a few ideas on how you can discuss your findings, because literally the discussion is kind of an overlap between previous research and your findings. What is similar, what is different, and what are the consequences of those differences or those similarities? What do we learn from all of this? So I think try to answer to these questions in your theoretical, in your discussion chapter, like how are they different or similar? How are they, how are these kind of differences or similarities from your findings uh, develop the problem that you kind of frame in the introduction, like what your research question, how are you answering to your research question? How are you kind of solving this research problem from the beginning? And then in the literature review, you also kind of problematize the literature. So now with your findings, how did you solve that problem in a way? So if we take a look at the good example, I think they start with a section called 5.1, where they try to summarize their theoretical contribution. So they try to start with the summary. I mean, it's optional how you want to structure, but maybe it's better if you summarize at the end, like after the specific discussions for quant and qual results, but they did it like this. And another observation from this 5.1 is that they didn't include references, and that is quite bad because then this is just like another summary from the findings. So that is a criticism to this 5.1. Good example. Is not that good in this specific subsection. It's better if they have more like a discussion with previous research, because right now it feels just like more of a findings summary. But then 5.2 is actually quite good. It's kind of a discussion of what are the consequences of their findings in the quantitative part. So I think they actually do it a little bit better. They include a few suggestions and then they overlap and then they contrast what previous research assumed and what they found. So it's a bit better, this quantitative discussion. I think maybe here you can, my suggestion is you can start with this and then move to the qualitative discussion that is in here. And I think actually they did a quite good qualitative discussion. I think in the supervision meeting for qualitative analysis, maybe Ryan gave you some suggestions, so follow him more closely. And include this, that is nice, the redesigned framework, or like how does it visually look like. And remember, this is kind of a development from the original framework that probably you did here in chapter 2. So what you include in chapter 5 is a development of that chapter 2 framework that you constructed. So my suggestion is that maybe you can start with quant, then qual, and then maybe finally finish with a summary of overall how both contribute to the literature. And don't forget to include references, that's very important. So I think that's pretty much everything. Go back to lecture 9 videos to get some ideas on how to develop arguments for the discussion, but maybe use this video to kind of design a structure for chapter 5.